Okay, 38. The superphysical senses are obstacles to nirbija samadhi, but are cities, powers, or accomplishments in the worldly pursuits. Let me see what. Let me get another translation. Experiences are both attainments and obstacles. From the perspective of the typical in the world mind, all of these subtle experiences of yoga come from samyama, appear to be attainments, powers, or psychic abilities to be pursued. From the perspective of samadhi and self-realization, these subtle experiences of yoga are considered to be obstacles, except in the sense that they reflect steps along the way. So you should neither pursue or recoil. The yogi neither pursues these powers for their own sake, nor recoils from them out of a misapplied spirit of renunciation. As with all of the experience in life, the yogi seeks neither attraction nor aversion. In this way, the path of non-attachment is followed to ever subtler levels, and this non-attachment is one of the two foundation principles of yoga. Through discrimination, the path to the center of consciousness becomes clearer and clearer. This includes non-attachment even to supremacy over creation of all forms and states of existence, as well as higher knowledge. Internal comes to be seen as external. To say that the subtle experiences are obstacles is not merely a matter of their being negative in some way, rather as glimpses of deeper meditation come. These experiences come to be seen as external in relation to the true self being sought. This foundation principle of the internal coming to be seen as external was described as a foundation principle in Sutras 3.7 to 3.8. As this realization comes with object after object of subtler exploration, even deeper degrees of non-attachment, vairagya, come, ultimately leading to the realization of the true self through discrimination. That was 37, I'm sorry. These experiences, I thought I was reading 38. These experiences resulting from samyama are obstacles to samadhi, but appear to be attainments or powers to the outgoing or worldly mind. The entire process of yoga is one of removing obstacles so that the true self, which is there all along, can be revealed. However, the allurements of the external world pale by comparison to the allurements of the subtle world, where these so-called attainments, powers, and psychic abilities abound. On the inner journey, it is therefore imperative to increasingly, gently, systematically cultivate the levels of non-attachment or vairagya, all the way up to supreme non-attachment or paravairagya. Subtle experiences surely come for the yogi on the inner journey. While it is said that they are to be renounced, this has special meaning. First, think of sensory renunciation at the gross level. Imagine your favorite food attachment, maybe some particular kind of sweet treat you eat all the time. If you decide to quit eating that sweet, you give up the item itself, whether completely stopping to eat it or cutting back, but do not give up your sense of taste. You may give up the attachment to the tasting process, but the ability to taste itself does not go away. The attachment is the key, not getting rid of either the object or the sensory ability. Renouncing attainments. Similarly, experiences such as those described in the Yoga Sutras exist and naturally start to come along the way. Saying that they are renounced does not mean they go away. Rather, it means they become a responsibly used part of the yogi's way of engaging with the outer and inner world. The abilities are there and become as much a part of life as are the grosser aspects of the senses, the indriyas, including the gyanendriyas, smell, taste, sight, touch, and hearing, as well as the karmendriyas of elimination, procreation, motion, grasping, and speaking. Whether those gross senses or the subtle attainments are used with or without attachment is the question. Each attainment reflects a level of passage. With a close reading and careful reflection on the experiences described in the Yoga Sutras, along with some glimpses of direct experience, it is evident that the attainments being mentioned are not just randomly selected powers that are being described. Each of them reveals one form or another of the ever more unfolding process of going inward through the levels and layers of our being. Each reveals one more aspect of experience and ourselves that is encountered, examined, understood, and set aside. We need not experience them all. In the process of moving inward, it is not essential that we seek out and experience each and every one of the attainments mentioned. This is well described by the sage Vyasa in his commentary on applying samyama to the stages of practice. He explains that samyama may not be needed on all of the stages because proficiency can be attained by other sources, particularly through the gift of grace. He points out that yoga is to be known by yoga, and yoga itself leads to yoga. One who remains steadfast in yoga always delights in it. To apply this in practice simply means to remain steadily focused on the direct experience of the goal. Any thoughts, or should I keep reading? Hi, Ashley. We just read Sutra 38. It was pretty much saying don't get attached to any of the stuff that comes, but just be prepared and don't push it away either. Hi, good morning. Yeah, I see the dinosaur. All right, so the next is Bandha. One second. So Bandha, by the loosening of the cause of the bondage of the body and mind, and by knowing the procedure of the mind stop functioning, entering another's body is accomplished. Okay, this is what Gyanasvara says. By loosening or letting go of the causes of bondage and attachment, and by following the knowledge of how to go forth. Oh, I'm trying to read something, love. Can you wait a minute? Can you wait a minute, baby? Mom? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Mark is not available. Okay. Comes the ability to enter into, so he says another body, and Satchidanandana says another's body. Entering another body by loosening or letting go of the cause of bondage and attachment, and by following the knowledge of how to go forth into the passages of the mind, there comes the ability to enter another body. The advanced yogi may use this power to operate through another body in service of others, such as for guiding sincere students of meditation. As with the other subtle experiences, this is seen to be both an attainment and an obstacle, and is set aside with non-attachment. The next one is by the mastery over udana, the upward flowing prana vayu, there is a cessation of contact with mud, water, thorns, and other such objects, and there ensues the rising or levitation of the body. Udana vayu is one of the 5 vayus. It operates from the throat and drives exhalation, operating in conjunction with prana vayu, which deals with inhalation. As with the other subtle experiences, this is seen to be both an attainment and an obstacle, and is set aside with non-attachment. I'm going to keep going, and then we can talk about it. By mastery over samana, the prana flowing in the navel area, there comes effulgence, radiance, or fire. It increases the aura around the body. Samana vayu is one of the 5 vayus. It operates from the navel area, deals with digestion, and allows the mental discrimination between useful and not useful thoughts. As with the other subtle experiences, this is seen to be both an attainment and an obstacle, and is set aside with non-attachment. By samyama over the relation between space and the power of hearing, the higher divine power of hearing comes. Space is one of the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, space, and hearing is one of the 5 karmendriyas. Both of these operate from the 5th chakra, which is at the throat. It is through samyama of one that mastery over the other is attained. The same principle applies to the other elements, karmendriyas and gyanendriyas. You're supposed to let it go. Samyama on the relationship between the body and space, and by concentrating on the lightness of cotton, passage through space can be attained. by Samyama on the relationship between the body and space. While Sutra 340 describes levitation, this sutra describes moving through space. A universal principle is relatively easy to see in the sutra. The Samyama is on the relationship between the body and space. This results in the body having a lightness that is likened to cotton. The Samyama allows a releasing or cessation of the process of heaviness or earth element. Then the natural lightness is experienced. It is not that a new quality of lightness is being attained or added on. Rather, it is a ceasing to be connected with the quality of earth or heaviness of body. Over and over, this process or practice of cessation or identity is repeated until the self comes shining through. As with the other subtle experiences, this is seen to be both an attainment and an obstacle and is set aside. Okay, what are your thoughts?
My thought is that your daughter is very grounding, and I love her for it.
Yes, she is.
Just in case I start levitating, I'm going to think about her.
Yeah, these are a little wild. I think of Hanumanji in the Ramayana has like a lot of these, you know, in the stories, they talk about his like superpowers. Almost makes you sound like a superhero, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the last one, he's talking about transportation, right? That's what it sounds like, moving through space.
Yes.
Yeah.
First it was like levitation, and then it was moving, and yeah, it was like a superhero. But is that in either an earlier sutra or in something somebody said earlier? This is one of those things that if you experience it, but you don't become attached as in, ooh, flying, I love flying. And you just sort of let it go. You don't become attached to it.
Right.
Okay.
If it happens.
I'll keep that in mind, but I feel like I'm so far away from that.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about the costume for the person who does fly.
I think that was in one of the Carreras yesterday, what Jackie read, that it said like the story or something, and then he said, don't worry about it, this will never happen again. Like,
yes, such a great line. That was so good.
Hanuman grows his body super duper big and then flies over the Sea of Lanka. Takes a huge leap. Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen again.
Did you just read up to number 43?
I got up to 43, yes. I mean, I think it's sort of like taking what we've learned about the Vayus even deeper, which is interesting. Because when you first learn about the Vayus, everybody has the same reaction. It's like the way that energy moves throughout the nervous system, and it regulates the parts of your nervous system. This is what they knew about thousands of years ago. Like if you get into an accident and you sever a part of your spinal cord, then your lower limbs are not going to work anymore, right? The yogis knew about how the nervous system functioned in such a complicated way. So it informs the way we teach asana on like a very superficial level of, you know, if they're having digestive issues, you have to do these postures because it affects this vayu. And like you realize as you're first learning it, everyone has this reaction of like, why doesn't everybody know this? Like, this is so common sense once you finally learn it. Like, this is so real and it's so applicable to life and like it actually works. So I don't know, you know, hearing about these deeper relation of like meditating upon it. I don't know. Maybe something can happen. It's like very specific instructions. I haven't gotten, the only samyama meditation I've ever done was like, I've done the one on akasha, love, and good health, like nothing insane. So I don't know. I've never tried.
I also want Pepper Pig.
She loves Pepper Pig.
I think that might be more on the level I'm at right now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. This stuff almost seems like scary to get into.
I feel like though, like you've said it before, or somebody has said it, or it's in here. It's just like it's just teaching us. Like it's not saying do it. It's just like planting seeds. Though.
Right. Like this is what can happen. Don't get freaked out. Even though it's a little freaky.
Yeah, and like I guess our ego takes over because it like doesn't know it, so it like pushes it. For me, at least, like it's like, oh, I can't understand this. Let me not even read anymore. But like I can still read it and not understand it.
Yeah.
I can understand it, but not have experienced it.
I remember when I was younger reading a lot of sci-fi books, novels, short stories, things like that. Watching like sci-fi films. And there's a part of you that like has an expansive enough mind to like participate in the story as if it were true or possible. And now we're living in this like weird dystopian nightmare where all of the stories are coming true. Like even the technology that's been created. So I don't know, I'm in a space of like, I wouldn't put it past the human capability, you know? I think we're capable of, like, it may not look the way we expect it to, like magic. Like, I remember sitting in a diner for the first time when the iPhone had come out. And you know how when you were younger, you'd have those conversations where like nobody knows the answer. So you just kind of like ponder about it out loud for a really long time. And like I had a ponder moment and then my friend pulled out his iPhone and like looked up the answer. And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, this is the future. Like something I never thought could be possible. You know what I mean? So I try not to get like, I feel that tendency in me to be like, no, it doesn't seem possible, but maybe it is possible. I don't know. I feel like I have to like lean away from that impossibility aspect. Cause really, I mean, humans are pretty impressive in their like awfulness, but also awesomeness.
I was just thinking about when I first started practicing yoga, I was one of those types of students that would only attach myself to one teacher. So for like my first 4 years, like pretty much like the first year and a half to 2 years, I went from one teacher to the other teacher. And that was it. Like there was no diversity, one class at the same time every week. And I thought she was the magician. Like I didn't understand anything about yoga. It's like I went, I felt good, I went home. And I was like, it must be her. However she teaches, she just makes me feel amazing. So it's her. But reading this and now understanding how yoga works on the body, it's not her, it's me. And it's like, I think these are reminders of how powerful we are. And like that we can do this work. And I mean, yes, you can have a teacher guide you to do it, but no one else is doing, like there is magic to yoga. Like I felt it, but it wasn't anyone else performing it on me. It was me sitting there and breathing for whatever, an hour or so.
That's legitimate, Pam. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I read this stuff like 10 years ago and I still didn't practice it. So it really is your own will to do and to change and to perform the magic. You're right.
And I think even that's a lesson what you just said. Like we're like, this is scary because it's new and new things are scary and it's okay to be scared, but it's okay to try it and it's okay to try it and not want to do it too, like, and not like it. And that is a lesson I love bringing to class, like to try new things, whether it's resting more, like how many people don't rest more? That is very new, or trying a new state or whatever. And even for my own self, that's how we evolve, I guess, for better or worse, is through change.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think about the quality of mind I used to have and how where I'm at now, I couldn't probably even fathom at that point the different, you know, constructs that I was like existing under. You know what I mean? It's like that, like the ability to be present is so revolutionary. You know, I was never present. I was always like thinking, and, you know, in some fantasy world, or like, you know, thinking, what could this, if, you know, and it was like, it would, I think all of us can relate to that, right? It would like stifle the existence I was leading. Or now with these, you know, practice over such a long period of time, like I see it's a superpower to be present. It's incredible.
I think that's also what I'm trying to say too. It's like for all of us, we have strong yoga practices. We've been practicing whatever that yoga practice looks like. So like, to think that this might be unattainable, like think about where you first started. Mm-hmm. And like maybe not in this lifetime if you believe in future. So like, yeah, I do. I mean, I remember reading sutras at the beginning and being like, this makes no sense to me. I mean, like sutra 1 point whatever.
Right, yeah.
We are in book 3. And like, if I went back and redid this, like, and you just keep doing this every year. Like, this isn't meant to be a one time. Right. And I mean, this is not the first time I've read through the book. I have all these tabs here.
You've really read through the book, haven't you?
What?
You like really read through it. I can see that.
But like, you know, I like even that, like I didn't take notes. So like it would be curious to know what was going on through the mind then. Like, why did I highlight that? But like, I feel like my reaction to you reading these is like, no way. Like, just because it hasn't happened to me, like my body, it's funny watching yourself react, and you're like, wait a minute, it's fine. It's just words.
Yeah, and when the experiences come, there's a disbelief. It's like, it's Maya, right? My teacher calls it Maya Devi. It's like the illusion, the illusory aspect sort of clouds your vision again, because it helps you to function in the world and the culture that we're in. So like you'll have an experience, or like someone will prove something to you that was in here that like was unbelievable. And then you have a moment of like, this is all real. Everything's real. My mind can't fathom like the expansiveness of the universe. Like, this is so beyond me. And like you have a moment of expansion, and then slowly as time goes on, Maya Devi comes over and like clouds your vision again. So like, yeah, I think that's what the resistance is. Like, really, isn't anything possible?
I mean, 2020, what is going on? Anything is possible.
What happens every day? I don't even know.
I have the Power of Now, the book, and I'm not talking even about the thick book. I'm talking about like there's 2 versions of it, like the really simple read. And I read this a long time ago. I was still a flight attendant, and like my anxiety back then was so bad. But I have so much stuff highlighted that now I look at it and I laugh, because it's like, forget the Yoga Sutras. This was like so simple. And I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't do it back then. Now it's so simple. The highlights and like the scribble in this book shows like the insanity in my head back then. Like all over the place.
Just saying the same thing over and over and over again in that book, and like 50,000 different ways. He's just saying the same thing. Like, just pay attention. Pay attention. This is the moment. Here's the new moment. Just pay attention. Right? It's like,
back then I couldn't do it.
Getting it's hard, yeah. Any other thoughts?
It's funny you bring up The Power of Now, Micheline. I read that book when I was like 13, and I remember like picking it up in the bookstore and just reading it and being like, wow, this is very interesting. And I had been going to temples like and stuff for my whole life, and I realized that like some of the stuff that he was saying was like so reminiscent of the teachings that I was learning in temple. And I was like really excited about the book, and I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I'm reading this book called Power of Now, and it says this. And he's like, why are you reading self-help books when you're 13? And I was like, no, but he's saying the same thing that a pundit said in temple. Don't you get it?
And your dad's like, no, you don't get it.
But for my 13-year-old brain, it was like so much easier for me to like grasp that than it was some of the things that they, you know.
Well, my brain was 20 something when I read it, and it was still not getting it.
What is I'm sorry, what book are you guys discussing? I missed that part.
Eckhart.
Oh, The Power of Now.
Power Now.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, you guys, by the way. I'm so excited for you. And you're
Thank you.
so exciting. We all knew it was going to happen. We all knew it. Send us your registry.
Even though Ashley knew it was going to happen, she was still surprised, though. She did not think she was going to be surprised.
Aww. Were you crying a lot?
That's very nice.
Oh yeah. I immediately just started to ugly cry like right away.
It wasn't ugly.
You have to say that.
I told people in our families, like, as soon as I say we're going to take a picture with me and Ashley, that's how you know it's going to go down. But half of them just started following us with their phones up like zombies, so it forced me to like immediately. They were like coming at us like with their phones, and Ashley's like, "What's going on?" Like, now it's time.
Man, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. It's good, though. I was pretty sure she was going to say yes, though, so I made it a little easier.
Would have been an awkward car ride home.
Would have been very awkward, yeah. Would have been an awkward. Talking about being in the moment. That's a moment that never ends.
I went back to my family jeweler to resize it, and he was like, she was going to say no until she saw the ring, right?
You must say that to everyone, huh?
I know, but it worked on me that one time.
It worked on you. What a sales. It was a beautiful ring. You did good. Oh, you guys.
Thank you. Ashley's mom helped me.
He's a smart boy.
I went with both her parents.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. That's very smart. All right, well, let's get started on our pranayama. I don't want to make you guys go too over. So you can take your right hand and open up your peace fingers and your thumb, right? Peace fingers touch the third eye, the thumb touches the right nostril, the ring finger touches the left nostril. So you inhale through both, and then exhale through both. Inhale. And exhale. Close off the right nostril with the thumb. Inhale through the left. Close off both. Exhale through the right. And continue on for a few cycles. You can take a 4 count. At the left side. And then we'll come to Brahmhuri, bumblebee breath. So take your thumbs, you all right? Take your thumbs into your ears and close off your eyes with your peace fingers. We'll inhale deeply and then exhale for 5 rounds. When you're done, you can place the hands on the knees with the thumb and pointer finger touching. And we'll sit for 20. Bringing the hands to prayer, bowing head. Namaste.
Namaste. Have a good
Namaste.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey, Micheline. Oh, did we lose you? All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.